Do you want to work in sports? Then you came to the right place. Women Changing the Game is bringing you an inside look at what it takes to be a leader in this industry as we hear from the top leaders across all fields. We're helping you girl boss your way through game day. Changing the game near you. Brought to you by Sports Girls Club. I'm your host, Mary Kate Siegel, and this is Women Changing the Game. Women Changing the Game. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Women Changing the Game. I'm here with some very special women changing the game today who are both behind and in front of the camera here at New England Sports Network. First, we have the Senior Content Planning Manager, Courtney Maag. Welcome on, Courtney.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Thank you for coming on. I'm so excited to be here with you. If you don't mind, start by telling us what you do here and kind of how you got here to NESN.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Courtney. I'm the Senior Manager of Content Planning here at NESN. And I really consider myself in my role sort of the hub of the wheel, the information hub of our content group. So communicate a lot across departments, across groups to make sure that we are using our best assets to market our assets and just amplifying all of the great work we're doing around our pro product. So there's really sort of 4 pillars of my job that I look at. It's the planning phase, the production phase, the distribution phase, and then sort of the performance, the measurement phase. So when we look back to make sure everything that we're putting out is resonating with fans.
Yeah, well, it's an awesome job, and it's no easy title to claim here, working here. I'm sure you put a lot of work to get to this point. What does some of your prior experience look like before coming here, and how did that lead you to here?
Yeah, so I'll take you all the way back, I guess. Better to start at the beginning, but I feel like, growing up, I've always had the ability to sort of execute tasks in a creative way. I always had a to-do list. And, I really think I always loved being in a team environment as well. And I think that really lent itself to participating in and watching sports growing up, even watching NESN, being a local person from Marblehead, Mass. So, I think I always thought I wanted to be in the sports industry. If I wasn't able to compete at the highest level, I wanted to be a part of the team that was, making excellence happen on the field or in the office. So I graduated from Marblehead High School, and then I ended up going to Penn State University, where I was an ad and PR major. I also got a sports journalism certificate from the John Curley School. And while I was there, unfortunately, did not have the athletic prowess to compete at that D1 level, but I wasn't willing.
What sport?
I played soccer, ice hockey, and lacrosse, but ice hockey was that was my favorite. So
Love.
Sadly, couldn't hack it in the D1 world. Pretty elite over there, but I wasn't willing to sort of give up that team environment and that feeling that I just loved and felt like I thrived in. So I actually started interning as a football operations intern under Coach Bill O'Brien when he got there. I did that for 2 years and ultimately interned again with Coach Franklin when he got to campus. And I loved it. That was really my first taste at working in the sports industry, and I wanted to keep that going. So after I graduated, I actually worked for Coach Franklin full-time for a year in the recruiting department. So I worked with NCAA and compliance, hosting official visits for prospective student athletes,
awesome.
Having them visit Beaver Stadium during a whiteout. It was a pretty easy sell.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my gosh, that would sell me.
Yeah, so that was incredible. And then from there, I actually got an opportunity in New York with Showtime Sports. So I was there for about 7.5 years, and that's really where I sort of shaped my career under the direction of our president, Stephen Espinoza, and our VP of Digital Content, Brian Daly, at the time. So I had an opportunity to work on all of our social marketing plans around our fight promotions, because we primarily worked around Showtime Championship Boxing and pay-per-view. Some really great docuseries like Outcry, and then some pretty impactful documentaries as well. That were really special. The Kobe Bryant documentary was one of them. Mauro Ranallo's Bipolar Rock and Roller, that sort of focused on the mental health aspect of sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
So those were unbelievable opportunities that I was a part of over my 7.5 years there. And then, as I mentioned, I am from the North Shore, so home was kind of calling, and I was looking for opportunities to continue my career in sports, just closer to Boston. And that's when the content planning position cropped up at NESN, and actually leveraged the one sort of network and got a recommendation and a sort of tip off from Kasey Blossom, who I'm sure you'll speak to, who's awesome and heads up our marketing division here, and it ended up being a perfect fit.
Amazing. Well, you have an amazing resume behind you. Like, you clearly put in the work to get here, and just so many cool experiences along the way. And it's so funny that you were an athlete and you were like, I want to stay in the sports industry, because I was the same way, and I played D3. But I was like, I need to stay in this somehow, and D1 was not working out. So it's like, all right, we're going to find another way to go about this and make it a career.
Got to find your role on the team. It might not be this on the start. You're not going to be a starter. You might be on the bench. You might be a manager, but you're still a part of it, and you're important regardless of what role you take on. And it's a great way to sort of have that mindset, especially when you're sort of navigating your career.
I love how you put it that way too. Well, going back to being here behind the camera, there's so many women here who plan, develop, execute sports content here. Can you tell us about what it looks like for you, and maybe give us an example of something you've activated recently to kind of give us a behind the scenes look of it?
Yeah, so I mean, there's so much content that we put out on a day-to-day, but something that really stands out and sort of activation that I'm really proud of was the Red Sox women's celebration game that we aired last year. So that was sort of just, the Red Sox do an amazing job having these culture and identity nights at the park. And this was one of the normal theme nights that they've done, for years now. But I think at the start of last season, there was a real effort internally, especially with the launch of One, to really make this as big of a moment as possible and really celebrate and hero the women who bring the game of baseball to life. And we have so many that day to day, make that a reality here at NESN. And that was always the Red Sox plan. So I think, at the start of that and the start of the season, I really partnered really closely with Amy Kaplan, who's our coordinating producer of the Red Sox, to sort of lead this 6-month-long planning initiative that required sort of cross-referencing production schedules here at NESN, the Red Sox, what One had going on, and the Portland Sea Dogs. That was because Emma Tiedemann and Riley Pei, who were the all-female broadcasting duo at the time last year, were doing an incredible job down there, and this was essentially their big league call-up. And it was just a really exciting time to bring female voices to the NESN booth and to the park for the first time in our 40-year history and in the club's 104-year history. So that was a definite labor of love. It was an intense planning effort. We worked really closely with our marketing team, the Red Sox marketing team, to build out a really aggressive promotional schedule, having Emma and Riley appear on our NESN podcasts, do press around the New England area. That all sort of led up to August 26th, when they sort of put the headset on in the booth with OB and did the call. They called the majority of the game. Riley even got a home run call for Duran, which was truly historic. And it was just really exciting to see that play out. And it resulted in, sort of a groundswell of support from New England media. And it really sort of resonated with fans on social as well. That's something that we're always looking out for and tracking. And we even had Billie Jean King sort of congratulate Emma and Riley on their NESN debut and being in the booth with us, which was just so special. She's an icon, and the fact that, the event got to the level where someone like that would take notice was just just huge and a real feather in the cap. And it was an awesome testament to the effort that women here, put forth to make, the broadcast as best as possible. But that was, a long-term planning project that culminated in one night that we were just super proud of. And I was just super happy to be a part of that. And definitely something I'm going to be talking about for years to come. So
I would be telling everybody, and what a moment for you in your career too. And nobody sees the planning process that goes into it. Like you said, 6 months, nobody would ever know that that's the work that really goes into it. And probably to see all your work just be done and be there, and then to see these women thrive in their moment too has got to be so exciting. So I love how you guys here really shine a light on the women in the industry. And I think it's so cool that you do that. And speaking of the women in the industry, we have so many girls and women listening to this podcast and this show who want to get into the industry and who want to get into a position like yours. What would you tell those women that maybe a piece of advice that has stuck with you through your career, or something that would help them get to maybe a point you're at now?
Yeah. It's a tough one because obviously there's never one road or one path, and everyone can have super sort of diverse journeys to getting to where they are. But I would say something that resonates with me, at least, is there's really no substitute for grit and hard work. And I know it's kind of funny, like other sports podcasts kind of joke around about this saying, but like the best ability is availability. And I know it sounds like a little silly, and they, you know, some of these guys make jokes about it, but I think for me it resonates. Like if you are willing to be available, to show up, be the first one in, the last one out, and really show a willingness to learn. I don't think that there is an industry, I don't think that there's a role that you can't take on and achieve. So I would just say, you know, that sort of grit, determination, and putting in the work, there's really no substitute for that. And I feel like that served me and my career journey, and it's something I think about as I go forward, and it would definitely be sort of the first thing that comes to mind when offering advice to someone who's trying to get their start or jump start in the sports field.
I love that advice, and really, really important advice. It sticks with me too, and that's going to resonate with me now. Hard work is so important in this industry, and being available. So really
never easy. It's a lot of nights and weekends, but it's worth it because once you see the team win, you're a part of that, and I just think it's really special.
And those moments, like, you know, the women in sports moments, are those moments where you sit back and you go, okay, this is why I do it, and this is why I'm here, and this is why I'm available.
100%.
But thank you so much for coming on. So nice chatting with you, and just can't wait to see what else you do in your career, and hopefully stay connected with you.
Thanks, Mary Kate. This was great. Appreciate the time.
All right, so now taking a look at things from in front of the camera, we're going to be talking with NESN's newest on-air host and reporter, Kasey Hudson. Welcome on.
Oh, thank you so much. I was very excited about this, and I have tracked and followed your Instagram for years now. I want to say about 2 years. So it was just really exciting considering, and being here at NESN, being here in Boston, I'm loving it.
I'm so happy to have you here, and I just feel like this is meant for you. I feel like Kasey Hudson is such a reporter, on-air host name too, and you were talking about how you wanted to move to Boston, so I feel like it's all just working out for you, and that's so cool. How does it feel for you to be here and to be at NESN, and what got you here?
Oh, it's been a full circle moment. Thank you for the name compliment. Hudson's associated with a lot of things. I don't get discounts in New York, actually. I tried to finesse that one a couple months ago. But it's been amazing and truly a full circle moment to get a chance to like be a part of NESN and to move to Boston. I've always kind of eyed Boston for a number of reasons. Their sports landscape, you know, I played soccer growing up alongside of gymnastics. So like when you start looking at colleges, BC and BU, they were in the conversation for soccer. So I always kind of kept tabs on Boston, never had a chance to come out here. And then it became like a full circle moment when NESN's like, hey, you want to join this team? And I was like, absolutely, say less.
Of course. Well, you're here now, and that's awesome that you played soccer and gymnastics too. My sister did gymnastics. And then I talked with a few other women here who played soccer. So
yes, there's a lot of us soccer gals.
Yeah, soccer gals here. I love it. So you, with your job, you talk to a live audience a lot. You're in front of the camera. But it comes across as so natural, which just means you're so good at your job, and it comes across so authentic. But a lot of people don't see the hard work that gets put into a job like yours, behind the scenes and all the preparation that goes into it. What does that look like for you that those people don't see to have it come across authentic on camera?
Yeah, it's a lot of research and a lot of work, and it sounds like such a basic answer. I like to say that everything's very case by case, honestly, because you know, live audience versus a live TV show or a pre-recorded show, everything kind of requires a different layer of research, because you have to think of like, will I have notes in front of me, or do I need to make sure that I'm memorizing everything? So it starts with research. I like to do a lot of storyboarding, and for me, like photographic memory, kind of trying to put pictures and things together. So sometimes I'll even create almost like a mood board vibe for some of my things and just have like key notes underneath it so that pictures are associated with like the most outstanding facts that I need. I like to think of myself as an analytical storyteller. For some reason, numbers have always played a role in my research and in my discussion, because when you're trying to connect to an audience, you're trying to connect traditional to non-traditional, to old fans to new fans. So when you're trying to really expand that reach, you want to make sure you have a granular like wrap on everything. So I think it's just being passionate about your research aspect of it. I think it's making research your own, but in order to do that, you kind of have to know, like, what do I want my voice to sound like in this space? Because everybody's research kind of changes depending on it.
Totally. Well, it's good to hear that side of things, especially for the girls and women listening who maybe want to go into a role like yours. That's an important piece for them to know, that it just doesn't just happen on camera. You're not just, all right, poof, we're here, and like, I'm just going to roll with it. It's like you're doing the work to get.
Homework never stops.
Exactly. And being so forward facing with fans as your job, it's not an easy task, like you said. How do you keep your presence, your personal presence, and your personal brand as you maintain the role of this job and as you maintain the tasks that come along with it? How do you stick to your personal brand as well?
Yeah, I love this question because I think it circles back to you mentioning authenticity. And I think for me personally, I had a very unique upbringing being a military brat. I was the new kid every 8 to 12 months. And my stepdad, who, you know, was my world, he passed away 5 years ago, but my stepdad was very keen on, like, you know, make it sweet to make it count. Like, you got to make sure you leave a lasting impression because you already know how this is going to matter and how long we're going to be here. And I think that that's just kind of translated with me in my career, because at first, as my career started to take off, I remember kind of having this like exhale moment every time I got off camera or was wrapping up with work. And it's almost more exhausting to feel like you're on all the time and then you're doing this hard switch off. Whereas like if you're just being yourself, there's not this distinct switch that's going on. And you're also encouraging others to be themselves. You're also breaking down barriers. Like, if you are relatable, if you are approachable, then you're going to change the face of not only your audience, but your workspace and your work frame. And I think that became very important for me once I got out of college. Like, I didn't want to be that person where you saw one side of me on camera, and if I ran into you off camera, it was like, oh, she's different. So just kind of my upbringing, like always being the new girl, knowing how hard it is to meet people, you know, knowing how hard it is to get to know people, and just making it more of an encouraging, welcoming situation whenever you meet somebody like me.
Yeah, and everybody can see if you're not being yourself on camera, it's going to show through. And that's a hard life to live, to act like you're somebody else on TV and then be a whole different person. That's exhausting. So, well, you do a great job at it. And you remain, like I said, so authentic on NESN's podcast and on their social media as well. So doing a great job with it. What is one piece of advice that you would give women who want to be in your role? What would you tell them? And what do you think that they have to prepare for in order to get this role?
Absolutely. I think a quote that kind of lingers in my head a lot is like, you can't be everything to everyone, but you can challenge yourself to be ever evolving. And that's kind of been a rotating thought in my brain, because when you first get into this industry, you feel like you have to be a yes person in order to be successful. Say yes to everything. And while I back that, say yes to everything that's going to allow you to learn and to grow, because there's a lot of growing pains in this industry. But don't feel like you're going to say yes just to say yes. Say yes because you know it's going to help you in a way. And I lean on that because you're going to be out of your comfort zone 90% of the time. You're going to be learning something on the fly. That's something that kind of started off my career. You know, I didn't have the orthodox big internship after college. I was with a startup that wanted me to be everything and learn a lot of different things on the fly. So I had to get very confident with being uncomfortable, because you're never going to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And as for, you know, making space for yourself in this industry, don't be afraid to learn different things. Like, at one point of my career, I had to remind myself that there is so much glamour in the grunt work, because then it just becomes easier, second thought, and second nature to you. And with the digital landscape growing the way that it is, like, being yourself is so important. Being unique is so important, and trusting that, because everything is going digital. So creating a presence for yourself, trusting that presence, and really remaining true to it, it's going to get you further along. I got my first big break being the backup studio host for the Tampa Bay Lightning because they found my social media. Wow. So a lot of jobs and opportunities are coming through authentic framework versus like just putting off this polished material.
Totally. I love how you stay true to yourself, and then that'll open doors.
It really does.
You know, just being yourself is going to open the right doors for you too, the ones that are meant for you and that are meant for your journey and your path in sports.
And the ones that'll last, because I think that's the other thing. We look up to other people and we always try to change who we are and what we want to do. Like, I remember looking up to so many women in this industry and trying to replicate it, but it didn't feel natural. So like trusting to like stick with what you have and bring to the table, I think is a very important thing. You can pick little bits and pieces up, but at the end of the day, you have to make everything your own, and you have to stand firm in like that pitch, and the right opportunity will come at the right time.
Totally. Well, I love that advice. And just real quick, is there any woman in sports right now that's really inspiring you, or maybe a handful of them?
Oh, there is a handful. When I got that first opportunity with the Lightning, Kaylee Mizell, she was working as the Bally Sports reporter, and she really just took me under her wing, introduced me to everybody in the organization. And look, we run at a 5,000 miles per hour, so sometimes it's not expected, but anyone that just takes the time to do that, you really have to show so much love and support, because those introductions that she created opened the door to conversations. And like, I chose a very difficult path, I should say. You know, being a minority woman working in hockey of all things, like, and some people, it's still tough for them to hear a woman's voice in hockey. So if not for her, that would have never opened the door for me to gain the confidence to consider myself anything in the hockey world. So big shout out to her. Deandra Lou, phenomenal writer, as well as someone else, works with NHL Network, covers the Lightning. Those are probably two people that you didn't have to ask them for anything. They just looked at you and said, we're in this together, we're gonna grow together, I'm gonna teach you everything I know.
I love that. I love that you have those women to look up to, and congrats on everything you're doing here and what you've done too. You've clearly worked so hard to get to this position, and you're just going to keep crushing it, I'm sure, and I can't wait to follow your journey here.
Thank
you
so
for
much.
coming on.
Of course.
Appreciate
I was
it.
very excited. This was an honor to be able to do this.
I appreciate that. Yeah, well, we love to have you, so thank you. Going back to the behind the scenes side of things, we have assistant content producer here at NESN. Welcome on, Allie Peto.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on. So excited to talk with you. Allie's been kind of running the behind the scenes, and now she's on camera, so I'm loving it, and I can't wait to talk with you. First off, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your role here, and how you landed here at NESN.
Sure, yeah. I graduated in May of 2023, and I was very lucky to have applied to this, found this entry-level production role at NESN, a company I've admired my whole life as a lifelong Red Sox fan, and just got super lucky and got the job. Like I said, graduated in May. I started in July, and I've been here since, so it's almost 2 years, which is insane. And I'm an assistant content producer, which again is entry-level, so it's kind of exciting. We get to do a lot of different roles on a game day, but it's mostly game day, so a lot of nights, weekends, holidays, but I love it. It's so much fun. I get to do anything from running the teleprompter for the pre and post game shows to doing graphics, the scorebug for the game broadcasts. On non-game days, we'll help the digital department like edit social media posts, so it's kind of fun to like graduate college but still get to like test different things and see where we want to fit within production, because it's just, there's so many roles within a game day.
Yeah, and you kind of get your hands in a little bit of everything, which is cool, especially out of college, like you said, getting a lot of experience. And just to mention too, you just came back from Tampa, which is so cool.
I did. Straight from Logan Airport. Straight
from the airport, she's here. So that's another part of your job there, that you're just coming from Tampa from games, right? So I want to talk about game days, and at NESN, how does your preparation process look like for those games, and what are a few key steps that you have to do to have a successful game day?
Sure. So on a game day, there's usually two main roles I'm doing. One is doing studio graphics for the pregame and postgame shows, which is an hour before and after every game. Preparation for that is a lot more intense of looking at box scores from the games before, or maybe like from the last series if we played a team in terms of baseball. I'll also look at game notes. We'll get research notes, game notes for every game, even post-game notes sometimes, which is really helpful. I'll look at the show rundowns from the games before to kind of see what maybe they talked about post-game that now they're talking about pre-game the next day. Also, I follow a lot of the teams beat reporters on Twitter, kind of following them, seeing what they're talking about, because they usually tweet a lot of like interesting stats or storylines. Like the other day was Rafael Devers' 1,000th career game, so there was a lot of like stats around that. So kind of prepping, looking at storylines and stats that way. Otherwise, on a game day, I'm doing the score bug, which is the little graphic in the top left corner of Bruins and Red Sox games that has the score. It's been called the most important graphic on screen. So no pressure.
She's in charge of it.
So no pressure.
No pressure.
It's just every pitch and foul ball and hit and run and everything. But that's a lot of fun. Preparation for that's a lot more of like setting up. It's on like a laptop, the software, setting it up, making sure the connections are good, it's receiving data, Wi-Fi, and then setting lineups, starting pitchers. I'll also go over game notes and box scores because there's a lot of data that the scorebook can give me in terms of like a pitch count, like if the starting pitcher is kind of getting deep into his pitch count, I'll like relay that information to the producer to kind of talk to the on-air talent, get in the play-by-play's ear and be like, hey, this was like a 10-pitch inning, that's pretty low, or hey, he's getting up in the count, almost hitting a career high. So kind of being on top of, again, like storylines and just, stats in terms of like what going into the game, prepping that way.
Yeah, a lot of preparation, and that's important to know if someone wants to be in your role, that that's what it looks like behind the scenes of things, getting ready for game day. And during game day, how does your team bring to life what viewers see on their screen? What's that look like?
Yeah, it's a massive, massive team effort, and I cannot stress that enough. Especially coming back from Tampa, we had a lot of technical issues, and it took so many different people to get us onto air. I'll talk in terms of like being in the truck. Like,
talk about that.
There's so many different roles, and it's really fun. And
can you kind of explain too for people who don't know listening, what is the truck exactly?
For sure. So for home games, we're in a truck, which is essentially just like a little portable control room, and it's like in a parking lot across from Fenway or behind TD Garden. And it's like a little control room. There's like one side where I sit that there's like 2 rows. The front is just covered in screens, like little monitors of every camera, every graphics. There's a score bug, then there's just so many cameras, Jumbotron feeds, away feeds, like it's crazy. And it's very cramped and very dark and sometimes freezing cold, but it's also really fun because you get to see how the director and the producer and the technical director and then graphics and replay who all sit in the truck like make the little screens and all the cameras like come together into one program feed that viewers see at home.
Yeah, you have no idea, viewers, what goes on behind the scenes. It's a lot going on, and that paints a picture of it. It's craziness.
Absolutely. It's like every pitch, it's like multiple camera operators and the director's asking for them and the TD's pushing the buttons and the producer's asking for replays, that replays like showing. There's so many ways it could go wrong too.
Yeah.
But in terms of like being a good team and just, working all together and doing your role, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. I enjoy it.
I was going to say, you said you love that position and you love that role because that might stress a lot of people out, all that hecticness.
Sure,
But that is sports in general, too.
It's live sports production. It's high stress, but it's fun.
Gotta be ready for that. But it seems like you thrive in it, so that's awesome. And you're loving it and everything.
I'm loving it. I'm a big baseball girl, so I do enjoy it. Even though some people, I like to talk, I'm like, my job is basically like 2.5 hours of watching every single pitch because the scorebug is, again, the most important graphic on the screen. And when something happens, I want to like update it as quickly as possible, but also being accurate in terms of the count or the score or base runners and pitch count even. Like, it's keeping that accurate and staying on top of things, which is another thing in working sports is the focus, even though it is, some games could go long and be boring, but it's fun. You try to find a positive on those game days.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
So to close us out, I want to talk about what you would say one skill set is that's most important for someone who wants a role like yours, or even just looking to further explore a role in the sports industry in general.
Yeah, I would definitely say working well in a team environment. Again, studio-wise and remotely in the truck, doing game broadcasts. It's very much a whole team environment. Being able to communicate issues, not being afraid to ask for help, because that's kind of what we're all there for, is to support each other and help each other have a smooth as show as possible.
Yeah.
And again, being able to communicate. When I first started here, I was a lot more shy than I am now, which is another good skill to have, is like, don't be afraid to ask for help, because everyone is a team and is there to help you.
Yeah.
And I am constantly offering my teammates help as well.
Love that.
Also being organized, because it is such a fast-paced environment, staying on top of things, not falling behind. There are days on graphics where I have 100 tabs open that I'm just like, oh my God, where's that one tab I'm looking for?
That would drive me nuts.
Yeah, because every time I'm like, oh yeah, what is Tristan Costas' stats? I'm like, new tab, looking it up, new tab.
I actually do have a lot of tabs open on my laptop right now. As I say, that would stress me out.
Yeah.
I do the same
Just
thing.
like, I'm gonna add a new tab. I'm like, 3 of them are the same page.
Oh my God, you should see my iPhone, like when you pull up the internet, there's like multiple, I gotta do that. I gotta clear it out, because I think that affects your storage too, and amount of storage, but that's all another.
I gotta clear this out, stay organized, and nice and smooth. Yeah.
So staying organized, staying on top of things, and working as a team is definitely something that you should kind of, be aware of if you want to enter this role. And well, so awesome to have you on. Thank you so much for sharing about your role, and can't wait to just see you continue to thrive and at NESN and in the sports industry. So thank you, Allie.
Oh, thanks, MK. That was so much fun.
And we'll see you next time on Women Changing the Game.
I'm your host, Mary Kate Siegel, and this is Women Changing the Game.